was cut off. I apologize. I was saying because I knew that he would not be comfortable with revealing that part of himself without finding his clarity, I kept it. I kept it. And for a while, my brother and I didn't talk. We fought. And I realize now that the fight had very little to do with any grudges that my family may have been holding against me, but it had more to do with the grudge that he was holding against himself. Everything that my brother strove to be was a fight against being me. Now, I know that there are going to be a lot of you that say, well, geez, that sounded quite egotistical, or, there may be some people that, after seeing these videos, may be very well pissed off, but you know what, it's okay. Feel it if that's what you need. I came out to my mother when I was 16 years old. As well, I came out to my stepfather. I was always more afraid of telling her about my bisexuality than I was about losing my virginity. Turned out that I was pretty right for feeling that way, because when I told her, she didn't like it at all. She tried very hard, for her own reasons, to downplay and make it seem as though it was just a phase or I would get over it. And when I started to, when I had my kids, it was even more apparent that that lifestyle to her was unacceptable. I was made to feel that being a bisexual woman and a parent were, you just didn't do that. It was, you can't bring that in front of the kids. You don't want to confuse them. And for a long time, I put myself back into the closet, hid that part of myself, and funny enough, after I got married, found it again. My husband was my brother's best friend. And there would be times when I would talk to him, and I would hear certain things about my brother and how he had changed over time. And I wondered what was wrong. I had always been able to talk to my brother about my exploits, a new girlfriend, or someone that I had a crush on. And it was never a problem. He never found issue with it. In fact, we would, joke about it sometimes. We would gossip about it sometimes. He would encourage me to go for it. But something changed around the time that I did start connecting with my husband, my brother's best friend. And I thought that it was that reason. I thought that it was because of the fact that I was seeing his best friend, that things had changed between us, but no. It wasn't until years later that I found out. Years later being, well, more recently. He experienced that encounter during that time with my friend. And all of these questions came. He worried more about how I would handle that news because of how close my friend and I were. He worried about telling me because he thought that he had done me some injustice, some betrayal, and no, I was actually happy for him, which led him to be even more confused because here it was on this one hand that I was being outcast for that very same reason, that very same happiness that I had found in owning all of myself, in standing in my power, being a bisexual black woman. He felt even more confused because that encounter he actually enjoyed and he was happy. He didn't know how to deal with it because on one hand he had me who had been outcast as the rebel of the family, as the black sheep. He had me telling him that it was okay to feel what he felt. And then on the other hand, he had others who told him it wasn't right, who tried to make him feel that that was wrong. After that talk, we started playing this game. This game called, as many of you might know, World of Warcraft. It's a role-playing game online, and while he, went ahead and created, a few, guy characters, he also created many female characters, which was a pattern that he kept in many of the games that we would play. He would always take on the feminine role when we were, or should I say most often, he would take on the feminine role. And it's no secret to anyone who knows me that I've always been just a touch more masculine than feminine. And the joke was on me when I realized that my brother was a bit better at being feminine than I was. But, I digress. He was, always fond of playing female characters. And I noticed a change in him when he would. He was, it was more natural for him. And this is not a strike against his character at all. At all. Love my brother. For it to be a strike against his character, I would have to consider this a wrong thing. And I don't. In fact, I consider it to be very right. Because it was who he was. A very gentle and loving spirit. My brother left this life confused about his sexuality. And I will not go to the extent of calling him gay or bisexual, or even that he was considering transgender. What I will say is that my brother loved everyone and did not feel that that was okay. He felt that he had to fit into a mold. He felt that he had to fit into a standard. He wanted to keep the peace. He wanted to be normal. Whatever society considers normal. And because of that, he fought me. We fell out of contact for a long time because he was fighting against me. He was fighting being an outcast. He was fighting being shunned by society. He was fighting against a spiritual calling that was unusual. He was fighting within himself for peace. I will honor him. I will honor him as he told me the morning that he left. I will honor him in being all of who I am as a black and other bisexual woman. I will honor him as being a polyamorous woman who is not afraid to have multiple partners, including a husband that she adores very much. I will honor him in being absolutely everything that I am and not being afraid of that. That is what I take from this. Honor yourselves. Love who you are. Do not hide yourself. Regardless of who loves it, likes it, hates it, ignores it. Be who you are. The world needs you to be who you are. I love you all.